What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. I have seen this picture all over my gosh dang feed today, from the Pokemon community to the Yu-Gi-Oh, wondering implications and impacts of celebrities actually looking at our market. Not to sound like the vintage values experience here, but when it comes to this, Steve Aoki spending 170 grand on a Charizard, it gets a lot of looks and eyes that might not otherwise be on this market. And during an economic downturn, I do think a lot of people look to collectibles. The statue market, for example, a lot of my Godzilla statues have doubled in the price. A lot of my Yu-Gi-Oh collection has doubled to triple in price. But when you get looks like this and attention from people like Steve Aoki, like Logan Paul, and people start to actually look at eBay, there's real world implications on this, and people start to actually, where should my money be squirreled away? I see that first edition LOB Blue Eyes has suddenly gotten a ton more heat and bypassed DDS Blue Eyes, which previously would be considered the better version for its art and collectability and that kind of stuff. First Ed base set is getting a lot of double looky-loos, and now when we come to actually well-graded cards on the market, they are bypassing the DDS Blue Eyes if you're looking for a 9 or 10 in a lot of places of it even being available. Although the DDS Blue Eyes is not really available for near mint. If you have the money, you're probably overpaying to get the attention of somebody with this now and get in on it. But we do see that there's quite a few more DDS Blue Eyes on market, and they are still relatively up there in price. This is the icon comparable to Charizard for us. You have Kaiba and the iconic scene within the anime, and people do the one-for-one comparison with Charizard. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not Pokemon. It's not the phenomena that happened with people's childhood of hunting down this Charizard and gotta have that Charizard. $200 in the 90s. Exodia was actually kind of it to when we originally released that set, if I recall. But with Blue Eyes, when it comes to this card, it does have long-term abilities to go up. But I want to remind everybody right now, with the Crush card and economic downturn, you have people spreading into this. When events are back, what's going to happen? A lot of people think that bubble will pop, prices are gonna plummet, everybody's gonna lose their money from the outside looking in. And no, I think parts of it will flatline and then continue to go up, while others will kind of wave, but not necessarily crash. And when you look at these safer investments, they are the icons, the ones that just don't have a ton of quantities on the market that can replenish, things that people have been holding on to for years, things that just aren't going to appear everywhere. Like DDS Dark Magician used to be considered trash compared to Blue Eyes, right? But now it's going up and off the market with only one near mint on all of TCG Player at just above 1,000. And I believe when we were heading towards the Crush card situation, it was like 400, 600, so it's about 3x in price. But you can see the buyouts are so bubbling and revolving that PSA 9s are available for lower than that ungraded one over on TCG Player. And then you see other copies here. And to me, it is a little bit of a wild ride to see where our vintage market is going, especially when the people are looking over here and saying, oh, the Yu-Gi-Oh vintage will go crazy, everything's going up, look at Sealed, look at this. Well, again, when events are back, there's going to be millions of dollars traded within a YCS room on that weekend between the vendors and everybody on the floor, money exchanging hands, people midnight at the hotels making late night deals. There are going to be so much like different deals happening, while right now the online marketplace is choked and it's the only way to get in. You're not able to go to events and go see things. So yes, the rate of things changing hands will definitely go a different direction once events are back, causing some things to kind of curve the online marketplace to become more competitive again. But right now, everything's just selling out, and that's the way to go. So will there be a pop? Not necessarily, in the icons, I don't think are even going to go down from what's crazy happening. But one thing we can actually see going down during this time has been one of our newer collectible markets, which are Starlights, not the vintage stuff. And you see Apollosa, remember this was 1,200 when it was getting played 3 of in the extra deck for Extravagance. It's down under 1,000 pretty well now. While other Starlights have done nothing but go up, they haven't had that chance to go ridiculous and then curve down. And Apollosa is the leader of the front, and now it's under $1,000. You actually don't have a Starlight above 1,000. Lightning Storm is getting played in 3s right now, and it's around 600, but it's not a waifu. Actually, let's see where the lowest playset lands. Yeah, it's been slowly going back down from 650. So when it comes to Starlight Rare, this is 1 in every 2 cases. You have 5 different ones per set now, meaning 1 out of every 10 cases per specific. Yet, it's not necessary to have these versions. They're doing very well for product in general, but yeah, Win was up above, what, 850 at one point and bubbled up, like, there were only listings at 1,000 something as the other Charmers were coming. Now she's back down in price as well, so it's not just complete stonks that are going to bulldoze their way up. We do see that there's flows and waves to the market that also turn downward. Now, 10,000 Dragon originally came out, went down for like 2 days, got bought out because the Japanese were interested in our market on this, and it's slowly trending up. It's a little different than our standard Starlight Rare. It has a red name. It has 10,000 down here for kind of the 20th anniversary rare effect. It's a different beast on its own and comes out of a side set rather than a core set. For this one, I think this is probably, thanks to different places coming into our market and grabbing these, one of the safer long terms. But how quick will it go up versus the money you're sinking in versus once you finally sell this, if you have to take fees and shipping or give a deal and a hookup? I don't know where this is going to necessarily go versus older stuff like Morphing Jar here. I remember just 2 years ago, you could pay $600. You were a high roller and you were offering pretty good on this card at 600. 3,000 lowest available here by Adam Korn. And now you see on eBay, moderately plays at 1,600. Near mint PSA 8 at 3,500. This has realistically 5x'd over the years. Now, during we'll call it the crush card situation again. Pokemon historically has 5x'd in a lot of places where Yu-Gi-Oh's only 2x. This isn't on the same rocket ride necessarily, but when you're talking about more iconic stuff like tournament pack sets or the true cover cards of Yu-Gi-Oh that everybody knows the name of, you're starting to get other people interested in these markets that don't necessarily even know what they're talking about when it comes to this. And when that money's flowing in, it means eventually they plan to resell and get out. We're getting into what I call vendor hot potato, and when that happens, it's literally, okay, I've made my money, your turn. Somebody's eventually going to take an L tossing around that hot potato. Well, I don't expect a crash. There eventually will be a curve off or kind of a staleness to the market at some point before the re-explosions, or how ridiculous is this to be getting to these prices. And as I've said, a lot of sealed is going up. I've had personal friends ask me, should I be looking at Dark Beginnings right now? This is a set that historically doesn't get a lot of eyes. It's only Dark Revelation, but all 5 of these sets under DR4, they sound similar. They sound pretty good, and they are starting to slowly go up in price. DR4 is a different beast on its own, kind of like Retro Pack 1 and 2. There are these rarer sets that look good and sound good, but I don't know. Like, I think maybe they'll go up just off the name sounding good, but I personally would be looking to put my money into more solid things if I had the ability to do so. I understand wanting to get in cheap with the ability to spike, but I like there to be actual backing in what I'm buying, because let's look at actual DB1 like market prices and highest cards. Wow, there's an ultimate rare pot of greed and a secret pot of greed. Wow, there's a secret rare dark sage. Just everything in here is not very well priced for there to be a good estimated value pulled out of the sealed to drive it up in price. When we're talking estimated value pulled, it means look at all these cards, their pull rates, how does it actually look versus the sealed ancient set? I don't feel like there's actual backing there despite the iconic cards, because there's better versions of those iconic cards. So do consider, if you're making this mad rush at the vintage market, you want to get in while things are cheap, because yes, things are inevitably going to go up for some cards. Be careful where you're putting your money. Look at where things were just bought out. Think about, will things be able to go down a little if I'm going to buy them, or are they just on a rocket going up? Try to consider your picks and what you're doing when it comes to these a little more carefully than just like, oh, gotta throw it here, gotta throw it there before it's gone. I gotta catch them all, as it were. Rise of the Duelist, back to your regularly scheduled market watch, has a little interesting something going on that I've been keeping track of. It's the race between Trip Tactics Talent and Forbidden Droplet. Forbidden Droplet has been trekking upward somewhat slowly, but it's just cooled off a bit in its race to try to topple Triple Tactics Talent on the set. So you see some cool off, some motivated sellers, And on the front page of TTT, well, it is still at $100-ish if you're buying for the most part. You have two motivated sellers with low feedback slash, looks like they're trying to climb this ladder, and then a lot of them are 100. So it looks like right now, Triple Tactics Talent still winning that war for being the top prize card. And with this, I could see it being like Lightning Storm and eventually being 600, but that's, again, this is why you've got to consider, if you're buying cards like, oh man, that's going to go up $100, I should get it. Look at this. Let's say the lowest ones are 470, which I think they're probably around there, right? Yeah, 475 here. So let's say you're spending 475, margins are important, and you hope that it goes to 600 whole dollars, kind of like Lightning Storm. So when you sell this online, and these sellers are currently taking fees like this, 13%, 10 to the platform, 3 to PayPal or credit card. Wow, is that a hit? And then you're probably going to do insured and tracked shipping, your shipping supplies, etc. Wow, you're not making quite as much money as you would have hoped, are you? Do consider price points in versus where you actually project prices to be when you're climbing onto these cards. And also, Ice Dragon's Prison is still up in price. We have one motivated seller here, actually two now. There was only one, so nice to see people actually coming in and trying to make sales, but a ton lined up still at $18 to where it's actually affected the market price on this card and what people are willing to play. A great tech option during this format and a great card in general, and it's good to actually see ultra rares maintaining a price under these new ratios where the secret rares seem so top heavy in the set. It's good to see extra value come out, especially with how the box prices for this has gone. I finally wanted to touch on Duel Overload. It seems that Verte has gone down a bit in price, Halki Fibrex has gone down a bit in price, Infinite Impermanence sorely needs a mass reprint that isn't shorted Konami, but it's been pulling upwards in price as those two go down. Levianir continues to trek upwards solidly, now in the top more so of the set. It's been here for a little bit, but it's almost passing Union Carrier and Celine at this point. There's so many penny stonks within the set, it is actually ridiculous, but I like where Duel Overload has kind of simmered to in certain places, and in other places, boy, could we use some help. Get to the cards, John, I already got to them. There is a reprint on the artwork monsters Blue Eyes White Dragon. This is interesting. Blue Eyes White Dragon figures typically go up and skyrocket over time and then don't get a second look on the market, and while this was an exclusive sale to begin with and limited, it seems like Mega House has gone ahead and just re-waved it. You can see secondary market prices here, this one being on sale still with shipping almost to 300. So if you were wanting this figure to go with the Blackluster Soldier I have behind me out of the same series, it looks like they're reprinting it for people that were investing. You might want to sell sooner than later because rewaves can really kill value, but this is a small figure for its price point. Just getting into a different market with Yu-Gi-Oh! Though, be aware this is for sale. This is amiami.com if you're wondering the website. So what do you guys think? The majority of this conversation, obviously, more so towards vintage cards and where that market is going and how stonks it seems and where the bubble can, like, not necessarily pop, but like expand and unexpand. I don't think there's going to be a true pop on that. People love to scream that in the comment section, but I think there's going to be flows to it, not necessarily straight up crashes. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the conversation and haven't lost your mind of outward looks in at our community. And seriously, I do want to hear what cards you think besides just the icons are good places to put, or are you only going after icons? Like, I didn't show Red Eyes on here, did I? Red Eyes is a pretty good card to be having. What would you be after within the vintage market itself if you had the money to spend?